When it comes to alleged photos and videos of cryptids, the background of the evidence is almost as important as the evidence itself. The environment the evidence was taken in, and the trustworthiness of the people who took it, are two big factors when it comes to evaluating its plausibility. But occasionally, cryptid evidence has seemingly no origin at all. Sometimes they seem to just randomly appear online, sometimes they're posted by anonymous individuals. I had cryptid evidence researcher HPSauce join me to talk about these mysterious images and videos. In the Santiago Valley of Mexico lives a lake cryptid known as Chan. It supposedly inhabits multiple lakes that are linked through underground tunnels. Eyewitnesses say it resembles a living sauropod or a Nessie-like animal. Cryptozoologist Leopoldo Bolaños created a website in the 1990s to document his search for the creature. After some months of searching, an anonymous user contacted Bolaños with an astonishing find. It was this photograph, which was supposedly taken September 6, 1958, after an earthquake hit Mexico. Now, this photograph has been the subject of a lot of debate. It's been suggested that it was actually an elephant photo that was manipulated. The supposed neck of Chan is thought to just be a trunk with some details changed. Personally, while I'm not a forensics expert, the image does look digitally manipulated to me. A person on an old cryptozoology forum even photoshopped Chan into a stegosaurus to show how easy it is to create digital images. However, I did at least confirm part of the story. On September 3rd, 1958, there was a 6.2 earthquake in the southern part of Mexico.
Back in April 2000, a man calling himself Derek, but omitting a last name, emailed this image to cryptozoologist Chad Arment. Derek claimed that this animal was killed by him and his friend in Colorado sometime in 1998. Derek had previously emailed another cryptozoologist called Ron Schaefer about this image earlier in the year in January 2000. Now, general consensus is that the dinosaur is a rubber model, as dead animals' tails are usually straight and their mouths should not be open. It might be questioned why the man Derek who sent in the photo didn't keep the dinosaur, or at least take a part of it for scientific examination. There's been a long history of dinosaur sightings in the United States. The term river dino has been used for many decades in North America to describe unknown animals that resemble dinosaurs. In a 1990 interview, John Keel, who's most famous for writing the Mothman prophecies, stated that if you want to hunt dinosaurs, you might as well go to Texas or Chase. There are something like 20 lakes that supposedly have monsters in them here in the United States. John Keel chastised people who went to Africa in search of dinosaurs, saying that those idiots will be living next to one of those lakes and they'll go out to Africa. There are many individuals in North America who have encountered animals that are very strange to them, animals that just don't seem to be part of the natural climate. There are many reports of large bipedal lizard or dinosaur-like animals from North America. There is even another story from Colorado. Allegedly in May 1935 there were 5 baby dinosaurs that a woman claimed to have seen when she was a young child. She stated that a local farmer had shot one a few months later, and she described it as about 7 feet tall, it was grey, and had a head like a snake, short front legs with claws that resembled chicken feet, and large, stout back legs and a very long tail. She also claims that she saw an additional dinosaur in a cave in 1937, and that many years later, in October of 1978, she saw one whilst driving home as it crossed a field near the vicinity of the same cave in Colorado. Unfortunately, despite the photo being of very good quality, it's just too easy to fake these sort of things. It's easy to make models that look incredibly lifelike, and in no case should a photograph or video be accepted as anything other than circumstantial evidence at best.
For centuries, there have been semi-frequent reports of living moas, giant flightless birds that once inhabited New Zealand, but there aren't many pieces of photo or video evidence of the bird. In 2017, however, a short video would be uploaded claiming to show the animal. The only information the video included was that it was taken on April 15th of that year, and that it was in a Northland bush. The video shows what seems to be a large moa before a weird cut, and then more footage of the animal. Of course, the animal is heavily obscured by brush. As for the video's veracity, I think this one is a hoax. You can sort of see the feet of the animal at points, and it doesn't look like a moa foot. They're more elongated and rounded instead of a three-toed bird foot.
The backstory for this Bigfoot photo is quite strange. It was initially taken in September 2011 in Ranchata in California. The photographer apparently did not know he had captured anything until returning home and looking at the photos. The subject appears to look like a gorilla, and so far no reverse image searches of a gorilla have turned up this image. Some think it may be a real Bigfoot, while others say it's either a hoax or a Photoshop job. The jury is still out. YouTuber Thinker Thunker did an in-depth video on why he believes it is not a Photoshop job. The providence surrounding this photo is quite strange. How would the photographer not see this Bigfoot gorilla-type monster if he was this close to it? And why did the gorilla not react to having his photo taken? It's possible it's a man in a mask, although as I said before, the jury is definitely still out on this photo. Personally, I don't believe it's a Photoshop job. The photo can also be found on the website Bigfoot411, although this doesn't give any other context apart from claiming it's a real photo.
On July 4th, 2010, a strange video of not one, but two Sasquatches was taken. Dubbed the Independence Day footage, it shows what many people consider to be a mother Sasquatch carrying an infant. It's widely considered one of the best pieces of Bigfoot evidence, but strangely, it has no confirmed backstory. There is one prominent theory about where it came from. Leroy Blevins was a Bigfoot investigator who is somewhat famous for his attempt to recreate the Patterson-Gimlin film with a suit. However, Blevins denied his costume being used in the video. As for the video itself, the big debate around it seems to be whether or not the baby moves. Personally, I don't think it's moving independently, but that could just be due to the baby being asleep or something.
This photo was found on a creationist-based website, and it allegedly depicts a large sauropod dinosaur photo taken in the 1950s or 1960s in America. It doesn't state which part of America it's taken in, but I imagine it would be more of a rural area. One suggestion is that the photo is of one of those concrete dinosaur statues that used to be everywhere during the 1950s to 1980s in America, especially ones in the abandoned Dinosaur World, Dinosaur Land Park, and other dinosaur-based theme parks. It's possible the photographer came across one of these dinosaur statues and took a photo to pass it off as a real dinosaur. It's also quite likely that the creationist website found this photo well aware of what it depicts, but chose to present it as a real-life living dinosaur anyway. Another possibility that I considered is the alleged dinosaur is actually a photo from behind of a cat, and its long neck is the cat tail.
In 2018, this video of a Jabba a giant cryptid spider, was uploaded online. It was supposedly captured by some anonymous campers in Mozambique back in 2014. They had heard giant spider stories from the locals, so they set up a camera to record during the night. The next morning, they reviewed the footage and found that the spider had been captured on video. I am a bit suspicious of the circumstances behind this recording. For one, Mozambique isn't an area where any giant spider reports come from. The Jabba has been reported in the Congo and Cameroon, but not southeastern Africa. There could have been obscure reports in the area, but there weren't any ones documented prior to this. While it makes sense that whatever camera they had wasn't super high quality, whatever is moving is still very unclear. I do want to hear your thoughts on this video and all the other pieces of evidence in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to check out HPSauce's YouTube channel, which I'll link below. Another big thank you to Eels and Things for doing some art for the video. I'll link more of his art on Instagram below. Special shout out to my Patreons Gerhard, Timothy, Wildworld, Macindude, Jason Cook, Ben, and John R. If you'd like to support me on Patreon and get input into future videos, a link will be below. Liking and subscribing also helps a bunch. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next one.